In today's episode, we'll be talking about Survivor, Season 47, Episode 2, Epic Girl Boss Move. So let's jump right into Epic Girl Boss Move. Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the Dub Cast. The first thing I found notable about this episode was Rome waking up Teeny to tell them about the idol slash box, which I thought this was a really dumb idea. We've seen in the new era, it's not really the best idea to tell people about your advantages, tell people about your idols, but eventually it seems like there's just an itch that needs to be scratched where you have to tell somebody. So Rome is going to tell Teeny of all people, which is weird because I thought Genevieve was his ally, but I guess he feels close enough with Teeny. They did have that alliance we saw in the first episode where it was them and Soul, but they kind of kicked Soul out for Asia. Nonetheless, he tells Teeny about it. They immediately tell Keyshawn about the clue, and then they're going to look at the box in the morning, which is really dumb, especially because Rome comes right up and pulls them not pulls them aside, but like confronts them basically, like, hey, what are you doing? And then Teeny's able to kind of explain why they told Keyshawn about it, but it's not really. It seems like kind of sketchy, but they didn't play it off. The show didn't play it off as too bad for her. That's really like a compromising situation. In most seasons, that's usually a death note for you, but who knows? This Red Tribe might not lose again. So I don't know. I should probably mention my thoughts on this episode overall. So I thought this episode was pretty solid for a second episode. It had everything you needed. Questionable vote. I didn't know who was going to go. Honestly, I didn't know where Tiana was going to go, but obviously, spoilers, TK is voted out. Not shocked by that. I didn't really see him making it far. Even if he did make it far, he seemed like kind of like an early merge boot. Not really a great player. He had the physical strength, but that was about it. So speaking of the Blue Tribe, TK and Kyle are number ones, and they pull in Tiana at the beginning of the episode to try and be an ally or create an alliance. And we don't really know much of the dynamics in the Blue Tribe besides Sue's relationships with both Caroline and Gabe. So now we're seeing obviously that bromance thing that kind of mentioned in the first episode has continued on here, where TK and Kyle really lock in step. They're number ones, and they try and pull in Tiana. They think they have Gabe, but he's kind of iffy. So now with all three of the guys and Tiana, that's 4 out of the 6 people. That's all they need. Sue being the older woman, she's going to be the easy vote out if they go to tribal. Well, maybe not. So back on Yellow Tribe, Andy, after last Tribal Council and last night, basically, he's finally chopping coconuts, and he finally gets people to cheer for him. Yay, Andy. This is the worst thing ever, is when, this is why I never mention stuff like this, because as soon as you mention it, it makes it seem like you're like seeking attention, seeking approval, and then once you get it, it feels fake as fuck. So I'm not sure if that felt fake for Andy, that felt real for him. I don't know. That's for me though, personally, I wouldn't even mention it. That's something you keep in your head, the thing about people not cheering for you when you crack coconuts, but nonetheless he does it, so they're all like, yay, good job, Andy. They're trying to make him feel re-ingratiated with the tribe. There's more dynamics that are stirring, which we will talk about soon, but as of right now, at the beginning of this episode, it's everyone versus Andy, but Andy does a good job in this episode being able to flip that structure, and we'll see if that holds over the next couple episodes. But him chopping the coconuts was funny because he complained about it last episode. Now it's, we'll see. So Sam is the one left behind to keep Andy company while the girls are out doing stuff. They don't want him to go look for idols, find a beware advantage. This gave me a lot of Caleb and Emily energy when in season 45, when Emily was the clear odd one out, but Caleb was like, it never really hurts to keep a connection, never really hurts to keep that person as an ally, and that's true in Survivor. Like, you have to always keep your allies open. You can never really close them fully. So, good move on Sam. I'm really liking Sam's gameplay so far. I think he's going to do pretty well in the season. We'll see if he lands in my top 3 winner rankings, but I really am thinking Sam's going to go far based off his content. Maybe, we'll see. So he decides to leave Andy for a couple minutes to go to the bathroom, but Andy, in the couple free minutes he has with nobody watching him, goes and finds the beware advantage and leaves it. Now, I thought that this would be a good idea when I go on Survivor to just not even care about the beware advantage, and if I found it, to leave it, because your vote's your most important thing. But Andy is like stupid about it. He's like, I'm gonna come back to it later. If you're gonna come back to it later, just grab it now, bro. Like, if you stumble, like if my scenario, I just stumble upon it, be like, I don't want this shit. I want my vote. But Andy's like, I don't know if I want it now, and then he decides a couple minutes later he's gonna go back and get it. Like, you should have just kept it off rip the first time, and then you wouldn't have to go back and get it. You know what I mean? So that was kind of a stupid decision, but it does end up helping gain him an ally, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes. But I just thought that that was really kind of an odd decision. He was like, I want to be the first one to leave it. People have left it before, bro. I think it's happened like 2 or 3 times. So you're the only one in the record books for that Matt bullshit you pulled last episode. But this was, I don't know, this was a questionable decision in my opinion. Some more dynamics play out on the Red Tribe. We have Rome trying to make the fire. He says he can do it in 16 seconds, which, dude, like, if I ever get in the show, like, if I go on fire making, like, it's GG's, bro, like, I'm not making a fire in fucking 15 seconds. I'm gonna keep it real with you. But maybe Rome was capping, because we see, and he can't even start the fire with the flint. Keyshawn gets a nice little scene here where he jumps in right away, gets it first try. So good for Keyshawn. He's ready to play. People are talking about potentially a fire making, like, future scene or whatever. I don't think this is going to have any play on the fire making challenge. I think it's, once you're making that first fire without Flint or with Flint, doesn't really matter for who's going to be in the fire at 4. Maybe they got rid of the fire making at 4, huh? Well, let's be honest, we know they didn't. But just Rome is really messy this episode, just because he's very overconfident, he's very talkative. People aren't really vibing off his energy. So it seems like Rome's in a pretty bad position in this tribe if they were to go to tribal council. So moving... Oh, he also wants to do On Fire podcast with Jeff, which, if that's coming out this episode and episode 2, it's like this is pretty much setting you up for a downfall. But Jeff, I guess, in the On Fire podcast did say that he wanted to do it. I should also mention this a couple days late. My bad. As you can see, I'm in a different setup. I'm dog sitting, so I wasn't able to be on my top of my game, get this out earlier. I want to get the Survivor episodes out as early as possible, so I don't like get these convoluted so I can just peacefully listen to my own podcast and not let them infect my thoughts. Get my natural thoughts, then listen to my Survivor podcast, not mine, like the podcast I listen to. Shout out, Rob has a podcast. But those things are gonna be flooding my head, so I'm just gonna I don't want to regurgitate everything they say. I have my notes, but so I will try and be earlier. That's the point of that fucking jargon. I don't know, no set schedule really, because things happen. And with NFL, I want to post that on Thursday, so it's like Wednesday night. It's hard for me to export to YouTube. It takes a whole fucking process. My computer's slow as shit, but it doesn't matter. But basically, this will probably be one of the later Survivor episodes that ever comes out. They'll try and be quicker, unless I go on a cruise or something, which I am, but the season should be over. Okay, rant over. Back to Survivor. Back on Yellow Tribe, Sam finds the Beware advantage with Annika. So he apparently is number 1 with Sierra, so he tells Sierra about the Beware advantage. So now Sierra, Annika tells Rachel, because Annika and Rachel are number 1, so now instantly 4 people know about this Beware advantage, which is like, if I'm on this thing, bro, and I find this, like, y'all can have it, bro. I don't want these Beware advantages. It just seems like they're always set you up for a downfall. In the end of the day, it's not really that valuable. Like, truly elite, social, and good players don't need idols. It's just a fact. But, in a small setting, I can see why you need one. If it's but you by yourself, just don't tell anyone, bro. It's like, this is simple. I get it. Everyone says that before they go out there, and then they end up telling people. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like we need to stop doing that. So once all this is happening, Sam kind of does it well, where he does like one step of each of the idol clues with a friend. So he pulls in Annika at the beginning, obviously. Then he does something with Sierra. It's the progression of the box playing out. So you have to find an idol in a box, then you get that box, and then you find another box, and then you find another box. So of each of those layers, he's able to pull in somebody else. He knows that Annika's probably going to tell Rachel, so he pulls Rachel in immediately to help do a task as well, which is fine. It seems like Sam's not really in a horrible position. I mean, in the we can talk about the preview at the end, but I don't think Sam's really in immediate danger. It's obviously going to be Andy or if not Andy, then I think it could be Annika or Rachel, but we'll see. So Andy, not having realized that any of this has happened, he's the only one in the tribe who doesn't know about the Beware Advantage / idol. He goes back to his spot where he left the Beware Advantage, doesn't see it. He tells Sam that somebody took it, and Sam's like, Sam did a good acting performance. I guess he's in theater. Why are all these people in theater, bro? I mean, I guess they just like theater kids on the show. Good for you. I'm not going to hate on it, but, lessens my chance. I never did theater. Anyways, so this is actually a good move by Andy because he's able to entrust Sam with this information that he found the Beware Advantage, didn't touch it, and Sam knows he's true. It's not Sam knows he's not lying because he has the advantage himself. So there you go. Little help for Andy that he didn't realize. So now Sam kind of adds Andy as another potential top relationship with Sierra. So Sam's got two really solid, rock solid connections, Andy and Sierra. So it doesn't really seem like he's in trouble, as I mentioned before. But this is just expounding upon his position. I think it's really good. I don't see any immediate danger for him. On Blue Tribe, we have TK, Kyle, and Tiana. As I mentioned, the three alliance. They try to pull in Gabe to take out Sue or Caroline. Caroline doesn't believe Gabe when he wants an alliance, so essentially Gabe goes to Caroline once he hears this news because him and Sue are really close, and Sue and Caroline are really close, so Gabe's like, hey, we should all just three work together, but Caroline distrusts Gabe because Gabe's sketchy with the idol and stuff. It seems like Gabe's trying to play like Russell Hantz. I don't really see that vision. I feel like it's pretty hard to play a Russell Hantz game in the new era. But anyways, I don't, it doesn't seem like this is the best alliance for Gabe just because Caroline doesn't trust him that much, but it's a small tribe. You got to do what you got to do. So Caroline initially doesn't trust him, but eventually is coming around to the idea. Gabe says that if it's him, Caroline, and Sue at the end, he'd win. Maybe that's something to keep in note for later, but I feel like there's no shot Gabe makes it that far. The other two I could see going pretty far, but Gabe, at this point, I'm not ready to say he's going to be in those final three seats. But he's using, that could be the Russell Hantz connection where he has the goats he brings to the end that he could easily beat, that he thinks he could beat. So there you go. But I'm not seeing it right now for Gabe, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I don't think he's playing that great. And we'll talk about his move at Tribal later. So Sam is given the choice that Rome and Gabe were also given to either take the idol for one tribal council or take it for one that goes for three or take one that goes for all of it. He says, I'm good with one. He mentions that he could potentially play it on Andy at the next tribal council. Sierra doesn't love that idea, but the way that the show is edited, I'm not saying this for sure, but it seems like Sierra is kind of willing to go with whatever Sam wants to say. It seems like he's more of the strategic voice on this duo, so maybe as time goes on, even she could be more open to this idea as well. But yeah, it seems like that could potentially be something to watch out for. Sam using that idol, it's only good for one tribal council, so you might as well use it. Use the Kelly Kim logic from season 39. Deep pull, we don't talk about that season, I know, but that's where a time where it came up. So now we finally get to the challenge. I feel like it took a while to get to the challenge, which is fine. The challenge is not the most exciting part to me, but some of the contestants are giving Jeff a little sass about the giving the idol back, which is always classic banter. But this time Jeff says, "Don't make me pull out my knife, bro. Don't fucking threaten me." That was scary. I was like, Jeff's gonna pull out a knife on these people. We saw him pull out the knife in 45 and 46 with the bandana on the idol. So sassy Jeff is apparently back. Maybe he'll. We see it even again after this challenge. But sassy Jeff back in the way. I'm here for it. We need another montage. I love watching those YouTube videos by, I think it's Eager Turtle, of the sassy Jeff. There's like 4 of them. Would highly recommend if you haven't seen those. Good content right there. But if we get that Jeff back, which it'll never be like actually true sassy Jeff, it's just him being kind of spicy. But yes, I don't even know what I'm saying. Good stuff, Jeff. Keep it up. So in the challenge, you have to go through a wall, jump over in the water, and then do like a puzzle. Or no, the thing at the end was actually cool. It's not a puzzle. You have like 3 people in a circle. You have to all to pull a bit of rope, keep this ball balanced on a track. My things are reversed, so okay. So it's like the track, and then it's like you have to go. It's like a very windy thing. So that was a cool element to see play out. Yellow and red wins, which I was happy to see yellow win. I don't want to see the same tribe go back to tribal council and tribal council again. Seems like that's been a trend. So as of right now, 2 different tribes have lost the first 2 challenges. That's good. Blue ends up losing losing this immunity challenge. It's also for reward, also for fishing gear and stuff, but that doesn't really matter. Um, so Rachel, in the middle of the challenge, we see part of the challenge you have to stab the bag of rice and get a key out of it. Rachel trying to outsmart the 300,000 people on the beach with all the dream teamers and Jeff and all the producers watching every single thing they do, thinks she can just sneak some rice into her back pocket. Girl, like, you got to do a little better than that. I'd give it like a 5 out of 10 of attempt. Like, that wasn't really that good. She tries to steal rice. Jeff's like, hey, you got to give that back. So that was a funny scene. Respect to Rachel for trying it, but maybe next time do a little better. You could just start eating it right at the challenge. How about that? Maybe, that could be the play. But he's not going to get away with it. After everyone leaves, or I don't know if they're still there or not, Jeff asks his typical post-challenge questions to the Blue Tribe, and Tiana, he says, why are you guys smiling to Tiana? Tiana's like, we're not really smiling, it's just nervousness, and like, it sucks, and we're all just kind of faking these smiles, we're all pissed off, and TK doesn't really understand what's going on. He's like, no one should be smiling, we lost. He's the athlete type, so he's like Q. He gets really mad when they lose the challenge. The athletes, they take it personally when you lose something. I mean, we all take things personally when we lose. So TK especially is going to be the one to be upset about it. Kind of gets pissed off at Tiana. And then after the challenge, everyone's pissed off at TK for the way he acted after the challenge. Speaking on everyone about their smiles and stuff, he thought that they could do better. I don't know, man. I feel like you got to just always play it cool. You can't be too outspoken, especially this early on in the game. But it is what it is. So, as things develop, we obviously have the pre-mentioned Gabe and Sue relationship with Caroline, and then it's going to be them versus Kyle and TK. Tiana's the split vote, or not the split vote, but the swing vote. So we see as both sides try to kind of not tame her, but get her on their side. TK apologizes for all of his actions. Seems like they're going to be good. Tiana said she could like really vibe with TK, but it's just no, she doesn't vibe with TK. But like strategically, it would make sense to do it for challenge strength and stuff. So really, it's going to come down to what Tiana wants to do. But there could potentially be rocks if it's 3 versus 3. Vote into the tie, you go back. Could be a rock draw. So everyone's a little bit nervous about that. Kyle having to be strategic, says he doesn't want to be strategic. That's not really what he's about. Bro, it's season 47. Like, if you want to go do a show that doesn't involve voting people out and stuff, go camping, bro. Like, this is Survivor, man. I'm sorry. You seem like a nice guy, and I know there's a nice scene of you floating around of a deleted scene. I'm really sorry if this is offending you, but I'm sorry, bro. This is Survivor. Like, people got to get voted out. People got to go. There's only going to be 3 people at the end. There's not going to be 17 holding hands. It's Survivor, bro. I'm sorry. So, no more complaining about having to be strategic. Like, sorry. And I haven't watched the scene yet, so I could just be being a piece of shit right now. I probably am. But, come on. You got to be strategic. We got to play. It's a social game. It's not a hold hands and, hang out game. Okay? So, get your shit together. Let's go. So, as time goes on, the potential of rocks is floated over and over again, which made me think there's definitely not going to be rocks. I don't know. Just feels like when they're that in your face with it, it's probably not going to happen. Get to Tribal Council. The bromance is denounced at Tribal by Sue. She mentions that the men are on top and the women are on the bottom, so that means TK, Kyle, Gabe are all together, and Caroline, Sue, and Tiana are at the bottom. So this is actually a good play. She underplays her relationship with her and Gabe, and Caroline and Gabe's relationship, which obviously isn't that much, but is, they need to form that group to vote in this Tribal. I really don't think anyone had any idea about Gabe. Listening to TK's post-game interviews as well, he said that Gabe didn't really talk much to him, but they just assumed he was on his side. That's kind of a dangerous game to play, but I get it. I've been in those situations before. So TK says that it's Sue's problem for not wanting to connect with people. She's very standoffish and didn't ask anyone any questions. But, it seems like there was just kind of a rift between TK and Sue that really wasn't going to ever gel. Gabe goes into talking about strategic versus social relationships. I thought he did a really good job here breaking it down of why a strategic relationship is different than a personal relationship and a social relationship. Obviously, this came up a lot in Big Brother in season 22. Just like a Bailey Davon Christmas fight, but this was a really good breakdown. I thought you got to have your people that you want to work with as strategy, and your people that you could hang out with and be friends with. Could be two different people, could be the same people, but it's different. It's different for each person. So shout out to Gabe. That was a really good explanation. Finally, we get up to vote. Tiana, when she's up to vote, says, "My instinct is never wrong. My instinct is never wrong. My instinct is never wrong. My instinct is never wrong." Seems like she's kind of second guessing it. So I don't know. I thought she was gonna side with TK and Kyle, to be honest. But I thought that was cool that they showed her saying that, and she's a little nervous. I would be nervous voting for the first time too. Gabe, once the votes are in, goes to give his idol. At the end of the day, he had it for 3 tribal councils. Who knows if it's even gonna matter? Everyone knows about it already, so might as well flush it. Didn't mind the play. If it's rocks, there was a scenario where it was rocks that was way more than 1%. So I give it to Gabe. You don't really know if you have Tiana on your side. I don't think that's a terrible, terrible play. They all just watched season 46, where none of them played idols, so it's a fine play. Ideally, you hold on to the idol, but if everyone knows about it, I think you can just flush that at this point. That would be my strategic play. So the votes come in. We have 4 votes for TK, 2 votes for Sue. TK is voted out of the tribal. Kyle is shocked. And that's where we leave off episode 2, man. TK was a good, fun character for 2 episodes. Not a great player, but it's fun to see you on the show, man. Hope the best for you. Kyle seems like he's in a world of trouble. Next week, looks like Andy's going to be... I forget what was the next one. Oh, Annika confronts Sierra and Sam about dating, so this should be really interesting. There was a fake showman's teased at the beginning of the season by Jeff. And then... what else is happening? Just kind of Rome goofing off more and more. So I'm excited to see what happens as this show develops. I'm liking all the characters so far. As always, I'll give my top 3 to win and my next 3 players that I think will be voted out. So top 3 to win. I once again have one from every tribe. Yellow tribe, same person for me. I'm going Sam. Just really well connected. That hasn't really had a lot of negative content. Seems like he's in the know. He's got a lot of allies. He's got a lot of good connections. Now has an idol. Fixed the thing with Andy. It didn't really work out for Kayla, but it seems like Sam's going to be a major player moving forward. So Sam is my number 1. Number 2, I have Asia. She's also well ingratiated in the Red Tribe. Last episode, she had a lot of content, which isn't always good, but it could be good or it could be bad. It's got to be the perfect amount. This episode was more chill for her. It was cool. It was good vibes. I think she's right in it. Number 2. Number 3, I got Tiana taking over Sue's spot. I think Sue, her rockiness with TK wasn't really the best look for her. Tiana is right in the middle of everything, so she's able to get it out of this first stage, out of this blue tribe. I think she could work wonders for her. I think she could potentially work with a lot of different people. So I got Sam, Asia, Tiana. Tiana replaces Sue. Week 2, power rankings top 3. My next 3 players out. On the blue, I did one for each tribe for this as well. So on the blue tribe, I got Kyle. This may be even a little too obvious because he's too strong. They don't want to vote him out and leave only one guy on their team. But obviously he's not in the numbers right now. He needs to do some work to get back into the numbers. If it's not him, I don't even know who it could be. Could it be Gabe? Could it be Sue? Could it be Caroline? Could it be Tiana? I feel like all those people have decent longevity in the game. Maybe not Caroline. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Red Tribe, it's got to be Genevieve. Didn't even speak this episode. Just seems like she's kind of irrelevant. Maybe they're saving her for later, but I don't know. It just seems like if Rome's going to play his idol, that just leaves her as the odd one out. So I got Genevieve out for the Red Tribe and Yellow Tribe. This is a tough one, but I think Andy has fully reversed the position. I think Sam and Sierra are going to start to see the value in keeping him over the duo because it's kind of 2 duos versus 2 duos. And if Andy's in the middle, he's going to choose someone who has connection with it, which is Sam. So I think Sam keeps Andy and Sierra, and those 3 vote out Annika. It could be Rachel as well, but I feel like Annika's more expendable than Rachel. Could be wrong. We'll see what happens. So that's going to wrap episode 2 of Survivor, season 47. Thank you once again for tuning in. I know this is super late, and you probably listened to a couple podcasts before about Survivor, but we're here now, and I'll promise I'll try and be more early and on time with the content. So, as always, be easy, y'all.